Hey, what's going on, my coders? Hope you're all doing well. And this challenge will be the challenge 90, and that we're going to be continuing with. So let's get started with the exciting part. So this is about manipulating complex objects. Okay. So it says that sometimes you want to store data in a flexible data structure. A JavaScript object is one way to handle flexible data. They allow the arbitrary combination of strings, numbers, booleans, arrays, functions, and objects. Here's an example of a complex data. So it's given us the music objects, and that has an array, and in the array is called um, objects. Alright, which is this is one object here. So it says this is an array which contains one object inside. The object has various pieces of metadata about an album. It has a nested format array, which is this one. If you want to add more album records, you can do this by adding records to the top level array. So this is a top level array. Cool. So objects can hold in a property which has a key value format. Okay, so key value, and in this in the example above, artist Daft Punk is a property that has a key of artist. So it says that Daft Punk is a value of the key, which is artist. So artist is a key, Daft Punk is a value of the key, right? And it says that JavaScript object notation, or JSON, is a related data interchange format used to store data. Okay, cool. So now you will need to place a comma after every object in the array. Okay, yep. Unless it's a last object. I'm pretty sure we have done this challenge. Don't you think? Anyway, we'll just do this challenge. Oh yes, we already did this yesterday. Yep. So I'll just continue then. So in this case, we're gonna be doing. So I'll just run the test and go to the next one. Sorry about that. My apologies. Right. So here's the main one. So accessing nested data, accessing nested objects. Okay, so these inside and outside. Okay, that's an object. That's the main object. This is another object. This is another one, and this is another one. Okay, the sub properties of objects can be accessed by chaining together the dot or the bracket notation. So it says that the sub properties of objects can be accessed by chaining together the dot or the bracket notation. Here's a nested object. So our storage, the first object, desk is a nested object. Draw is the property of the nested object, and then another one which is cabinet, then top drawer, Excuse me, I think I'm eating too much nowadays. Anyway, bottom, okay, cool. So our storage dog cabinet. So if you want to access folder 2, which is secret, we're gonna go with our storage, the first one, and then cabinet, then nested one, and then in the cabinet with a bracket and notation, we're gonna access folder 2, like this. Alright, top drawer, there's some top drawer. Okay, objects is in the top drawer. I mean, the property we want to access is in the top drawer, which is folder 2. So then stapler, perfect. So in this where we access the nested objects. All right. So now it says that access the my storage object and assign the content of the glove box property to the glove box content variable. Use bracket notation for properties with a space in their names. Okay, so we first have to access my storage and assign the content of the glove box. Okay, so we're gonna do this like first for this, so my storage, and then we're gonna access this one inside. Actually no, my apologies, the car, we're gonna access the car in this way by a door notation. So car, and then um the 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 glove box is inside the object inside, yeah. So we're gonna do, where's it gone? Yeah, so we are in car at the moment. Now we're gonna do door inside. Alright, and then we wanna assign the value in glove box to glove box content array. I mean the variable. Okay, so this one should work now. So inside, and now run the test, and we have passed the test. Legend, I'm proud of you. Let's move on to the next challenge. Alright, accessing nested arrays now. So first it was objects, and now it's arrays. As we have seen earlier, as we have seen in earlier examples, objects can contain both nested objects and nested arrays. Okay, yep. Similar to accessing nested objects, array bracket notation can be chained to access nested arrays. Okay, so similar to accessing nested objects, array bracket notation can be changed to access nested arrays. Here's an example how to access a nested array. So that's an array. It's got objects here. Alright, and okay, so it's got two objects. The first is a cat, property can, the names are these, and then they've got an animal type which is a dog as well, and the names are Sport, Bowser, Frankie. Alright, and this is how it's accessing the values. So it goes to my pet, I mean our pet, and then get, so this is at index 0 and this is at index 1. So it goes to index 0 and then presses dot and then the names array and then types in the value it wants to access, I mean uh, the, the, the index of the value. So if it's 1 it will print out Fluffy, if it's 2 Kit Kat, if it's 0 then meow, so on and so forth for the animal type dog as well. Okay, so it says retrieve the second tree from the variable myPlant using object dot and array using object dot and array bracket notation. Alright, so it says retrieve the second tree from the variable myPlant second tree. Okay, this is second tree. Yep, from the variable myPlant using a dot and array bracket notation. Alright, so we need to retrieve pine from the trees object. Okay, and store it in this variable. So what we're gonna do is we will type in plants and then dot, what else was there? Oops, where's it gone? Oopsie. Yep, plants, sorry, so plants, and then we have taken, we're gonna take trees, my plant, yep, and then trees, trees, ah, sorry guys, so the array is at 1, and then I'm gonna take the list, and then I need the second one which is pine, so I will use bracket notation 1 again. Alright, makes sense? If no, here's an example of it. Okay, so we needed to retrieve this second tree, okay, from the variable myPlants. So that's the variable myPlants, and we need this tree. So this is the object of trees, and we need the second tree. So what we have done is um, we have accessed the second object of the myPlant array by putting in the value 1. So as I told you, this is in index 0 and this is index 1. So 1, and then I've accessed the list property and the index at which the pine is. So it's 0, 1, 2. So of x is 1, which will give me pine. Alright, cool. Let's run this, and we are past the challenge. You're feeling as the king of the boat of JavaScript, isn't it? Let's go to the next one. Alright, so record collection. You're given a JSON object representing a part of your musical album. Okay, I've got this JSON object. Each album has several properties, has several properties and a unique ID number as its key. So that's properties, and that's the key. Alright, there we go. There we go. Alright. So not all albums have complete information. For example, this one, it doesn't have the complete information. So it says that write a function which takes an album's ID. Okay, album's ID like this, a property prop like artists or tracks, and a value like addicted to love to modify the data in the collection. Alright, so it says write a function which takes an album's ID. Here you go. Okay, that's the ID, that's the prop, and the value like addicted to love to modify the data. Alright, and then it's returning the collection. Okay, and then says if prop isn't tracks and value isn't empty, update or set the value for that record album's property. Your function must always return the entire collection object. There are several rules for handling incomplete data. If prop is tracks but the album doesn't have tracks property, then creates an empty array before adding the new value to the album's corresponding property. If property is tracks and value isn't empty, in this case it means empty string, push the value on to the end of the album's existing tracks array. If the value is empty, delete the given property from the album. Okay, so it says use bracket notation when accessing object properties with variable. Alright, push is an array method you can read about on. Okay, yep, you may refer back to manipulating complex objects in introducing JavaScript object notation for a refresher. Alright, cool. So let's get coding now. Right, so the first thing we need to do is implement this logic here. So it says that if prop is tracks, sorry, my bad. This is the first. No, sorry. I'm kind of lost here now. Okay, yeah, here we go. So that's the first condition we need to follow. So if prop isn't tracks and the value isn't empty, update or set the value for that record album's property. Okay, so so we're seeing that this is the ID is taking into consideration, and there's the object here. So the prop isn't tracks, nope, it's album, and the value isn't empty. Then we need to update or set the value for the record albums property. Okay, so we just have to add, say, set the value for the record album. Okay, so so we're gonna do this. So if so, saying the prop isn't track. So prop is not tracks. Okay, and then which is a logical and then value isn't empty. Then what we're gonna do is add the property here. Okay, so we're gonna take the collection, access the ID, and we're gonna access the property. Oops, since we are creating the property, we can just set a value here. Perfect. Right, so let's see if our first test passes. Okay, cool. So our first test is passing. Now, what does this say? Alright, your function must always return the entire collection object. Okay, yep, it's returning that. So now it comes for rules for incomplete data. So if prop is tracks, but the album doesn't have a track, doesn't have a tracks property. So if the prop is tracks, okay, is tracks, but the album hasn't got, but the album doesn't have a text property. So if the value here is given as tracks, but the album that has this ID hasn't got the property tracks, then we're gonna create an empty array before adding the new value to the album's corresponding property. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is, so if the prop is tracks, so that's actually going against this statement, so we're gonna do an else statement, and then if prop is tracks, oh sorry, first of all we're gonna look if the album has a track property or not. So we're gonna do collection and then ID. Okay, and then we're gonna check if this album has the property or not. Has own property, which is the tracks. Okay, then so but album doesn't have it. Okay, so we're gonna negate this, do the opposite. So we need to add uh, we need to create an empty array of the new property. So that's going to be collection ID. Okay, the ID, and then we're going to do tracks as a property, and then create a new array. Alright, so here what we have actually done is here is it checks that if prop is track, so we've just done the opposite to this if statement. So else uh, it if it doesn't have a prop if it doesn't have a track property, so the ID, which is, say for example this, if it doesn't have the property, here's the has on property, and then give it a property name here. If it doesn't have this property, it checks first, it doesn't, so it creates the property tracks with an array. Alright, so let's check how many tests are passing now. Alright, oops, I forgot to add us. Okay, so 2 tests are passing, that's fine. Oh, okay, 3 tests, yep, cool. So now what do we have? So we have done this one, new value, create an empty array before adding the new value. Okay, we have done this one. Now it says if the props is track and the value isn't empty, push the value onto the end of the album's existing tracks array. Okay, so we're just gonna do another statement here. So if it is tracks, which is tracks here, else, then what we're going and the value isn't empty. Okay, yep, cool. So we're gonna push on to the end of the album's existing text array. So album existing text array. So we need to access the location object, collection object, and then it says push the value on to the end of album's existing. So we do tracks, access the tracks property, and then yes, since this is an array, we do push, and then we put the value, and push inserts the value at the very end of the array. Alright, so now that's clear. And how many tests do we pass now? Let's have a look. Da-da. Okay, so we are sorry, what did I do wrong here? Oops, ID. Yeah, my bad. Trash and then push value. Yep. Okay, so we're on the right track now, since we have just two more tests to do. Okay, cool. So come on to the next part, which is, okay, we have done this one just now. Now it says that if value is empty, so we're gonna, if just the value is empty, so let's create if value is empty, what we're doing, delete the given property from the album. So we're going to use the delete keyword and then the given property from the album. So album, we're going to access the album with ID and then prop. So now what this done does is it will only delete the property of this uh, album with this ID. Alright, and then we're gonna also return the collection. Hang on, I just have to check how many tests am I passing now. Collection ID prompt delete. Okay, cool, perfect. Yep, we are passing all, all the tests. So I just hope that you guys have understood how to deal with a really complex data. It's fundamental. You have to understand how to deal with this data structure, because if from now on the data structure would only be complex than this, it won't get any easier. So if you don't understand it, I recommend you to see this video again and understand what exactly I've done. If you don't understand any part of this particular challenge, please comment, and I will make sure I get back to you guys within 1 or 2 days. Yes, okay. So in the meantime, let's move on to the next challenge. All right. So this one is about iterate with JavaScript while loops. All right, iterating with while loops. So you can run the same code multiple times by using a loop. All right. The first loop, the first the first type of loop we will learn is called a while loop, because it runs while a specific condition is true and stops once that condition is no longer true. Okay, so this is an example of it. It creates a new array called our array, and then it starts from 0, and while I is less than 5, it will keep pushing the number at the end of the array. So array is gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So now what does it say? Let's try getting a while loop to work by pushing values trend array. Okay, we're going to be pushing values in trend array with the user while loop. Push the numbers 0 to 4 to my array using a while loop. So we'll do while. So I is equal to 0, then while I is less than 5, then what we're going to do is push the values into my array. So my array dot push and then I, and then we're going to be incrementing I by 1 each time. Alright. Alright, there we go. Bring that rain of solutions. Oh yes, we're loving it. Alright guys, that's it for this tutorial, and I mean the challenges also. If you guys have any kind of questions, comment below. I will get back to you guys, and if you have any specific requests that I need to improve these tutorials or challenges of tutorials, then I mean tutorials of challenges, then please leave me a comment as well. Alright, until next time, have a great day, or night, or evening, or morning. Alright, bye bye.